So shall we begin with a few personal questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Udrive is a platform that allows you to rent a car by the minute, for example, $1 per minute. And this allows people to reduce their initial investments in a car. So what was your motivation behind this concept and how did it all start?
We actually were a normal car rental company originally, so like a what you call old school business model. We got a bit bored of doing the same thing day in, day out, and a lot of our customers didn't want the car for a whole day or a week. They wanted it for a shorter period of time. Go to the supermarket, go to a friend's house. And we decided to change the business model. But if you change the business model, you needed the technology to support it. Because if you rent a car for a day, you can just give the keys. But if you rent the car for 30 minutes, you don't want to have a human doing all this manual work. So we had to digitize the car and then make a mobile app. And that's how Udrive was born. We were actually trying to provide more of a better service to people who wanted to move.
I see, that's great.
Yeah.
So I'm a business student here at Regent, and we've got many more. And I discovered that you've done your GCSE in business and commerce. What career advice would you give to someone like me following a similar path?
It was a long time ago I did business studies. I think a school, university are foundational steps to going into a future career, whatever that is. I'm a tech guy, so I did business studies, but I was always thinking technology, and so I married both of them together. So I would highly recommend anybody that is doing a business studies schooling or a degree or anything like that, that you definitely try to understand technology as much as possible. Doesn't mean you have to become a coder, but I think you need to understand the impact of technology on business. And this is because technology is radically changing business models. And in the future, when you are an entrepreneur or you are a student, you need to think about how things are currently done and how they could be done better. And that has a big impact on any business.
I see, okay. So I would like to ask, what motivates you to continue working hard and pushing yourself forward beyond the limits, especially since you're the co-founder and CEO of a well-known company?
So I think it's important to set a level here. Udrive is well known now. It wasn't when we started. So when we started, we were nobodies. Like we were just individuals doing something and building something that we believed in, and because we believed in it, believed that everybody else would believe in it. And in the end, obviously, producing a good product gives you a good result. Look, in the end, being in charge of a company that has grown, you don't just wake up in the morning and know kung fu, right? It's not in the Matrix. We will wish. But unfortunately, you have to learn through all of that. So I think for the context of being a CEO of a company that's well known, it's not how you start. And I think all of you will have that journey of starting with an initial idea and then building it with the skill set you have and learning every day. So my advice is just push yourselves, and what motivates you is you believe in what you're doing. And in the end, that will just get you to a lot of places in life.
Yeah, take small steps and build it.
Yeah, you can take a big leap, but you probably will get hurt, but that's part of life.
Yeah, true.
You definitely have to do that.
Okay, so what according to you makes a strong leader? And could you give me an example of when you've demonstrated good leadership skills in life?
What makes a great leader? I don't think anybody really knows. I think in the end, if you can get a group of people to believe in a future that doesn't exist, but you're going to create, and then you can get those people to move towards that end goal or that target, that makes a great leader. And not everybody's going to believe in it, and not everybody's going to be able to stay aligned to it, but keeping the greater momentum is what makes a potentially great leader. Ideally, if they have great motivation as well, and they have a
strong vision.
A strong vision, and they have a positive, ethical approach to doing things. I think that's the key part as well.
So now, who's someone you've idolized and looked up to throughout your life and your career?
Okay, so we're going to split it. I'm going to say something that might not be standard. I don't actually have someone I've idolized my entire life.
Oh.
I have people I love, my wife, my kids. Love my kids, okay? All right, my parents. But in the end, when it comes to business, you will probably find what you're doing now may not necessarily what you're doing in 15 years. And so as your journey changes, your people you follow, people you aspire or look up to will change as well. I mean, I'm sure everybody here is on Instagram and doing stuff. They change all their influencers all the time, right? So it's the same thing. Your personality changes, you mature, you look at things in a different way. As you change yourself, you will change who you look up to follow. And the only thing I would say is look to people that are giving you more positive guidance rather than setting a negative set, because that will take you down a path you don't want to go down.
Okay, so now let's spice things up with the rapid fire round. You'll have 5 seconds to answer each question. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, shall we begin?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll sit back for this one.
Describe yourself in one word.
Tough.
Tough. Do you have any pets, and if so, which type?
Do I have any pets?
Yeah.
Hamster.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
What's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Do you have your favorite holiday destinations?
Maldives.
3.
3
Yes.
destinations. Maldives. North of Maldives, south of Maldives. No, I'm kidding.
What's your hobby?
Reading
2.
geek stuff.
Apple or Android?
Android.
What's your favorite car brand?
Infinity.
I see. Good choice.
That's because I'm driving it.
Ah, okay. Okay.
My future aspirational car brand?
Yeah.
Anything that would be really, really fast. But I would say a Tesla because it would tear your face off.
Okay, okay. So now let's move on to a few business-related questions.
Yep.
Specifically focusing on Udrive.
Okay.
So I read in an article, you were in an interview and you predicted that car ownership could potentially get wiped out and replaced with a new form of car consumption habits. If so, by when, and what other goals would you be having with Udrive?
Wiping out might be a little bit of a stretch, but the world is moving from CapEx to OpEx. So CapEx being you buy it, and OpEx meaning you use it. So you used to buy DVDs, now you just use Netflix, right? Yeah. It's realistically in the next 5 years, you're going to see a huge change from people buying stuff and maybe leasing, but still leasing on a long-term basis, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. And then they'll move to, well, actually, even though I am leasing on a yearly basis, how many hours in a year are you actually using the car? Yeah. And they'll start to understand more. But this is more around education, financial education to families, financial education to people buying the cars. Once they start understanding how much money they're actually spending on stuff they're not using, they'll start to cut it out. Yeah. And so you'll find that's going to happen. So we at Udrive, we believe that within the next 5 years, you're going to have a radical shift in how you actually get in a car. That's the first step. The second thing is, will you be driving it? And obviously, depending which country you're in, that could be anything from 2 to 3 years from now to 10, 15, 20 years from now. In certain countries, it may never happen, but the car drives itself. So in the end, if your car's driving you, do you really need to own it? Do you really need to even have it full time? If you have thousands of these things driving around the country, just picking up and taking you wherever you go for really cheap, then you may not own. And I think that's where we're looking forward to that period.
So you've already had great success with Udrive, as you facilitated to over 2 million trips, and now you're looking to expand to Saudi Arabia, I heard. So would you be looking to expand outside the GCC, and if so, when exactly?
So we are already in Saudi. We've been there for 3 months now. We are going to grow there. We're launching in every GCC country during 2023. And then towards the end of 2023, we're looking at Egypt and North African markets. And then there are some opportunities popping up on the radar for us to bring our style of car sharing to other markets outside of the GCC. But that's going to be probably 2024 and onwards.
Okay. So now I'd like to ask, what, in your opinion, is the key to running a successful business? And do you have any more advice for those of us aspiring to follow your footsteps and your career path?
Yeah. So people talk about their limitations. Yeah. They're normally internally placed on yourself. So when you as a student are setting your own goals and you're growing and you're pushing yourself, you should know your limitations. but it doesn't mean you should be held back by them. So you should always bust through your limitations. Now that might be a small amount past the limitation, or it could be a huge amount. And then you have to apply that to your schoolwork. Sorry, I'm going to be on the student's side here. Don't leave things to the last minute. Push yourself through it. It's better to do it frequently and less of than do everything at the very last minute, especially when it comes to exam times. Yeah. And we all know that it's not necessarily meeting your personal criteria, but in the end, it will make your life a lot easier and you'll end up with better results. So it's, in the end, knowing your limits and then busting through them is very, very important, especially when you want to push yourself, whether that's work-related, personal-related. What was the other part of the question?
My question?
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Your opinion on running a successful business.
It doesn't start out as a success.
Yeah.
You have to earn it.
You have to build up.
You have to build it, you have to earn it, you have to listen to the customers. There's a reason why Amazon is Amazon, and there's a reason why Microsoft is Microsoft and Facebook is Facebook. In the end, not everybody's going to be the number one, but in the end, to have an amazing company, you don't have to be number one. You just have to give your customers exactly what they're looking for, and you have to build the product according to what the customers want. And sometimes you have to push the customers to think differently. Yeah. Okay, that's what Apple does and a lot of the companies do, innovation. But in the end, running a great company and building a great company comes from surrounding yourself with the right people that believe in where you're going and where the product is going. And that they want to actually, they're inspired by it themselves.
Yeah. So your surroundings are really important, right?
Surroundings, the people you surround yourself with. If you start with really good people will find really good people.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself initially with bad people will find bad people.
The spread.
I don't know how else to say it. It's like, it's just the way it works.
Yeah. So from my side, that's all. Now, would you mind answering a few of the audience's questions?
Sure, if they have them.
Any questions?
Very quiet. Oh, we've got one.
When was Udrive founded?
So we started initially in 2016. So as a rental car company, it was 2014. But in 2016, we became Udrive. So what you guys know today and you see on the streets.
Are you going to expand to European countries? And
Potentially, yes. That'll be the 2024 timeline if we're going to go into Europe.
Are you happy with your job?
Me? I love it.
If you don't mind me asking, what car do you drive, out of curiosity?
What car do I drive?
Yes.
I have an Infiniti QX70.
Thank you.
Today I was driving a Nissan Sunny, which was one of our cars.
What's your company's net worth?
Oh gosh, well it depends on which person you ask. But if you read the news, we're a $50 million valuation. If you ask me, we're worth $1 billion.
What do you do when you're pinned against the wall? Like, what helps you get out of tough situations?
Dividing everything by 2. It's never as bad as it looks. So look, maybe I'll go on. Can I have time to go on this one? Okay. Depending on your life experience will determine how you react to situations. When it's your first time, you freak out. Right? It doesn't matter who you are, you're going to freak out. Some people verbalize it. Some people run around literally waving their arms in the air. And some people internalize it. But once you've done it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, you start to realize it is never as bad as it looks. And if it is bad, there's probably a way to overcome it because you're not the only one in the world who faced it. And Google is an amazing solution to a lot of problems in the world because whenever I face a problem I don't know an answer, my first thing is I Google it. And then I find it, and then I know there's potentially a way out, and then the problem is no longer impossible, it's actually possible.
Hello, who is your biggest competitor?
Directly, we have a company called eCar that started just after us. And then the rest of the normal rental car industry is not direct, it's sort of indirect mobility.
What do you do in your free time?
In my free time? Sleep. I do a bit of fitness as well.
How did they come up with the name Udrive?
Honestly, it was very, very simple. We wanted a brand that you knew almost in the name what you're doing. And you do drive the car, so it was just put it together and it was Udrive. And we just shortened it, that was the main thing. We just took it from YOU to U.
Do you want your kids to grow up to do business?
My kids? I want them to grow up to be happy. So if that's business, that's business. Of course I would love them to be technologists and code and stuff, but my daughter loves to dance. Doesn't touch, they're on computers all day, by the way. They're playing Roblox. But they're not, I don't know if they're going to be business people, they're going to be dancers, I don't know. But as long as whatever they're doing, they really enjoy and they're motivated when they wake up, right? You're always going to wake up in a day and hate what you're doing, but that's just part of life. Doesn't mean overall that you're not enjoying what you're doing. Sometimes I'm having a bad day, right? So I want them to do whatever they want to do.
Are you planning on partnering with any other companies?
So we have quite a lot of partnerships at the moment. We have, you've all been to an expo. Do you ever go to the expos like the food event? Well, not the food events, but like maybe there's some school events and stuff. We partnered with some very big government organizations like Dubai SME, which is the small and medium enterprises where all the entrepreneurs go and they create their companies. We're partnering with some very big brands at the moment. That will be coming out in the next couple of months. So we partner with a lot of organizations that have employees that need to drive, and we partner with organizations that have customers that need to drive, and then they promote us to their clients or their employees.
What do you think is the best value car right now?
What's the best value car? I don't know. Residual value? Sorry, I'm going to get all businessy and complex. I mean, when you buy it and you sell it 3 years later, what are you going to get best returns on? Or the most expensive car? Well, I would say the Bugatti Veyron's the most expensive one, or one of. And I would say the best value car right now, anything Toyota. You buy it now, almost invariably in 3 years, it's going to be very close to its initial value than many other brands.
Do you listen to any music?
Yep. Maybe not the stuff you guys listen to, but yes, I do. But I usually rely on Spotify to tell me what to listen to.
Have you ever hoped to own a car company, a car rental?
No, it wasn't how I started out. I started out in computer animation and games programming, and that was a long time ago. But I love what the business represents. It's not car rental. It's more like providing a solution to a human problem, which is mobility.
We'll have a couple of more questions.
Yeah.
Hi, what type of music do you listen to?
What type of music? Okay, so popular music, so pop. So I like a bit of old school Britney Spears, and then of course I like all the new stuff that's coming out. Honestly, I listen to like chart 100 music mainly, if I am listening to music.
What age do you think you should start a business?
As early as you can. I'm going to jump on that one second, because I think there was a question in there I didn't answer. You should try as early as possible to do anything you can to learn. And that means making mistakes and getting things right. And slowly over time, you'll start to realize what works and what doesn't work. And the earlier you start that, the faster things will get easier for you. So my answer to your question is now, at any age.
What are the usual type of customers you get?
What type of?
What are the usual type of customers you get?
Honestly, Udrive's customer base is focused on middle income to lower income. So that means people who probably don't have enough money to own one car or two cars, or they don't want to have the cost of paying for a car that they're not using when they're at work. So normally it's what we call middle income, middle to lower income.
If you had to create another business, what would it be?
Oh, for sure, I would have built probably a gaming company, which technically we have. We are we're doing some cool stuff with gaming.
Was it easy to start?
Nope. Context. Nothing in life is easy until you've built up the experience. So if you're asking me if I was to do it now, creating a business is very easy, but it's taken a lot of years of experience to make it easy. So when you do your first business, there's lots of questions you're going to ask yourself. Can you do it? Can your friends do it? Do you have a customer base? All of these will eventually be answered by yourself and your team, whatever that's made up of. So it's only as hard as you want to make it, and it's only as complex as you want to make it.
Do you think kids should drive?
You drive your parents up the wall, I'm sure, but to answer the question directly, no. There's a reason why insurance companies don't insure people below a certain age.
That's it. Okay, so that's it, Mr. Watson.
No problem.
Thank you so much for your time and for giving us such beneficial advice.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure all this information can benefit us and our future as a whole. And again, thank you very much for the
Great.
advice.
Thank you very much for having me here. It was a great pleasure.
All right, so that's it.